Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tanner's Favorite Things. Today we are going to celebrate one of the holiest days of the year, also known as New Bike Day. So you can see I have a big box here. This day is synonymous with New Guitar Day, so either NBD or NGD, really made for a great day. But bikes happen even less frequently than guitars for me, so this is a even more solemn occasion. So let's open up and see what we got. Fox Factory Series 36. This is a very brawny fork. So this is my very first 29-inch wheel bike. So you can see we have those 29-inch wheels here. These are the DT Swiss M1700 rims. I have a lot of experience with these because this is actually my third bike of this brand. We'll talk about that in a second. But we have both wheels. This is actually a Shimano 10 to 51 cassette, I believe. This is my first experience with a Shimano extended range cassette. We'll have to see if it stacks up against the SRAM Eagle that I am currently on. DT Swiss, I think 240s and 350 on the front. I don't know. Oh, wow. Completely disassembled. So these are our handlebars, which are the Pivot kind of branded, this is called Padlock, I think. And it's, Padlock. This is a exclusive thing to Pivot. These are carbon handlebars that interface with these grips right here, and they don't twist. So I just pulled the seat post out, and it looks like I found the first casualty. This little tab here that holds the ferrule where the cable would go into here, the cable housing, it broke off. So I am pretty sure that that is replaceable, but that should look like that. It looks like that. So we'll see about that, but that's a real bummer. Something like this will prevent this bike from being rideable, which to me is the whole idea. So hopefully that won't take too long to get fixed up. All right, the big reveal. What do we have in this box as far as a frame? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my last bike, which was the 2.7.5 version of the Pivot Firebird. It was when they revamped that frame, and it was a big kind of enduro bike for them. This is the latest version of that, the Pivot Firebird 29. And we've got race face cranks, Shimano 4-pot XT brakes. Those are new to me. I haven't ridden these yet. And the sand color, as you can see. So let's go ahead and take all of this packaging off and show you the frame. All right, we've got her all together. Here we have the 2019. This is actually a used bike, but it was a bike shop bike, so I don't think it got too abused. So what we have here is the Fox Float X2, the Kashima coating on both the shock and the fork. And the one thing that we couldn't get together is the seat post, just because that one part broke, which you saw earlier. I'll have to take that to the bike shop and see if we can get that replaced. But otherwise, just got to put some air in the tire, put some pedals on, and then it's time for the first spin. Again, we have the XT drivetrain with the XTR rear derailleur. I believe it's 12 speed with 10 to 51 spacing. Not sure what we have on the front, but I assume probably a 32 tooth ring, size medium frame. We'll have to do a side-by-side comparison to the previous generation Firebird as well. I do believe Cush Core is installed already. Yep, I can feel it in there. If you're not aware of what Cush Core is, I highly recommend it. I'm not getting paid by Cush Core or get any kind of kickback from them. It's just a product that I believe in, and it really saves your wheels, especially if you have carbon rims, which I intend to upgrade this to at some point. But Cush Core, really great product. Alright, the final thing that I wanted to capture as part of this video is a comparison against the previous generation Firebird, the Firebird 275, as compared to the new version, the Pivot Firebird 29. So as you can see, the old version had a slightly swoopier frame, a little more organic shapes here, and little more straight tube utilitarian, just strength here. Obviously the wheel size is bigger. You can see the smaller wheels on the older version, but otherwise it's pretty comparable as far as specs and geometry. The intended use for both bike is identical. And there's Jack. Jack says hello. So my final thoughts after riding the Firebird 29er as compared to the previous generation, I've gotten 2 rides in it since I bought it. I would say that the newer version is just a hair stable, maybe 10 to 15% more stable at speed, which means you can go faster. So that's good news. The bigger wheels do make a noticeable difference on going down trails with a little more rocks, maybe a little more technical features. But the one thing that I noticed with the wheel size is that the larger wheels do carry a bit more momentum as compared to the smaller wheel size on the previous generation. So going faster on flats and straights is definitely more doable on the new version. Otherwise, we've got a Fox 36. We've got a previous generation Fox 36. The Fox Float X2 was spec'd on this bike originally, and guess what? Fox Float X2 on the new bike. You can see that we have the Kashima coating on the rear shock, whereas the previous generation was just the black finish that they use. Otherwise, the linkage is pretty similar. We have that DW link with the 2 short links. Very similar. Looks like it's a little more erect on this one. That top link is standing up a little straighter. But XTR, we have a Shimano drivetrain here, and a SRAM XO drivetrain with an XX1 cassette. Fox transfer seat post on both of these, so that's pretty similar. The carbon bars are the Pivot brand, and the stem is also the Pivot brand to go with the padlock grips. So from that perspective, the cockpit is very similar, and no surprises there. It feels very similar. The one thing that does feel different on this bike is the 4-pot XT brakes, which you would think XT brakes from one generation to the next would feel pretty similar, but this is a very big departure from the 2 pots that we have on the previous generation. So a nice upgrade there. These brakes stop quite a bit better. Now, I had the Reynolds carbon wheels with the i9 hubs on the old build. We go with the stock DT Swiss aluminum wheels and hubs. That might be the first upgrade that I make on this bike. Otherwise, we've got 162 millimeters of rear travel, whereas the previous generation had 170. Pretty nice. Now, I won't say that the Firebird 275 is out of date, because there are plenty of really high-end bikes being made today with this exact geometry, and they're still considered cutting edge. But it's been 3 years on this frame for me, so time for an upgrade. So final thoughts, I love this bike, I love this platform, I love the pivots. This is actually my 3rd. I had a Mach 6 previous to this one, and that got me hooked. Otherwise, the DW link is one of my favorite linkages, and the overall feel of this bike is just rock solid. So if you're interested in a Pivot Firebird 275, this one is officially on the market, and this is the bike that is replacing it. So hope to see you out on the trail. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.